Hello, today I'm building in Henford on Bagley, and this is for a collab with a bunch of simmers. It is hosted by Simspiration YT. You can find their links below in the description. There is a lot of creators who have built for this collab. I'll have a post on my Instagram that has a slide with every single simmer who also built for the collab. You could also use the hashtag Whispering Woods collab to find the builds on the gallery or search it up on whatever platform that you use. But we know that I love a witchy, whimsical build, and so I've really enjoyed seeing the posts that people have already put up, because I believe the posting started like I don't remember which day, but it's already started because I'd seen people on Instagram, but I post my speed builds on Mondays, so I kind of held off on posting this for a little bit. But yeah, I'm building in Henford. This is a 40 by 30 lot. It is 14 Nettle Lane, and the build ends up costing just over 100,000 simoleons. So it's pretty expensive, but it is a 3-bedroom home, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. I think maybe it's 3 bathrooms. Did I say 2 bathrooms or 3? I don't know what's going on, but it is a big enough house for a spellcaster family. I have a cauldron room in like a greenhouse type room that doesn't have a lot of windows, so there's no natural light for the plants. But that's kind of the idea, was like a room that was like wooden walls, wooden floors, with a cauldron and some planter boxes for you to grow whatever you need for your potions, that sort of thing. But I don't think I had like a reference picture for this build. I think I just picked out a lot, and I picked out some of the like landscape items. You could see them all thrown in that corner, kind of overlapping each other, because I was just trying to get an idea of what I wanted for the landscaping, which is really just looking at the surrounding trees and picking from there. I knew I wanted to use the Realm of Magic rocks, which I've been really enjoying lately. And I wanted to use them in a different way than I usually do. So I have them kind of like floating above the house, because I thought that it brought in a more whimsical like feel for the build. And my build definitely, it feels more like a earthy cottage witch, rather than like um some other people's builds that are very like colorful, and like it like the colors make the build feel very magical. Where mine, I feel like, loses some of that, because I used my normal color palette that I always use. But I tried to bring in like that like magical element by playing around with the chimney smoke, um, floating some of the rocks around. I use a lot of fireflies mixed with the Realm of Magic like orbs, mostly in yellow, which is like my favorite swatch to use for that. So I've used that like quite a bit. But I also used some of the different color orbs just over a cauldron that I sized up, which you'll see after. But the beginning of this is really just my typical builds. I raise up a little bit of terrain. I outline it with base game rocks, or like maybe either the cats and dogs rocks. It's my usual go-tos. And now I'm placing the Realm of Magic rocks to float around, because I really like how these rocks look. I've used them in quite a few builds of mine recently. It just like adds a really nice element to each of the builds. And it also added like height to certain parts of the build without having to add more walls to it. And also later on, when I start the interior of the build, I do expand the house just a little bit to make it a little bit bigger, and I also connect the upstairs using an actual hallway. Because when I was like playing around with the floor plan, I was like, I don't want to have two sets of stairs leading up to these areas of the house, because the house is pretty narrow and it is a little small, and doing it that way, I felt like was limiting how many rooms I could have in here. And I've been really trying to have my builds at least be good for a small family instead of my 1 to 2 bedroom houses, and it's been working out. I've gotten better at building houses that can fit more Sims in it, which is really nice. Because I remember I would always get comments talking about how people wish that their Sims families could live in my builds, and at that point in time, I really struggled building, like, even just medium-sized houses. Like, I wouldn't consider this build a large home at all. It's definitely medium-sized house. Like, when I have to build a large house, it's like I really need to focus, and it's always me adding, like, wings onto a house. Um, like, when I look at this house right now, it feels like 2 of my houses combined, and that's normally what it like, I see every time I make a house a little bit bigger, but it like ends up working out. And I remember last week I was talking about how I wanted to have like a special Halloween build this week. So this week there's going to be 2 speed builds. This one, which I'm assuming is up on Monday. It is quite a long video and I have to do the voiceover for it and stuff, but I think this should be up on Monday. And then on Halloween, I have a smaller build that actually is pretty small. It's just a 2-bedroom house. And the bedrooms are pretty small itself. Um, Also last week in my build, I was talking about how I was like really hoping that there would be a possibility that I would get into the EA Creator Network for the new pack. And somehow it happened and so I got the email that my application was accepted, and so I'll have a build next week with like the pack and stuff. I'll have a giveaway because you get like a code for yourself and then you could get a giveaway code. So I'm going to do some sort of giveaway of the new expansion pack. I just don't know um what platform I'm doing it on. I've never hosted a giveaway before, so I'm a little bit nervous. Um, I don't know why. It's just like anytime there's something new or different, I get a little bit nervous. But I think I'm going to host it on Instagram. I'm really not sure yet, but I'll post like a in the community tab whenever I decide. So if you want a chance to win the pack, um, I'll have like the link to the giveaway there. So you have a chance of getting the expansion pack that way. But I'm really excited for the expansion pack. I've been talking about it in every single one of my speed builds lately because it's such a nice pack and I'm really excited to build with it. And I'm happy that I got invited into the program finally after like um a couple years ago I applied and I never heard anything back, and then I reapplied and I got rejected. And then I reapplied again this month and I got in and I'm really happy about it. And it also means that I'll have like a creator code eventually. I know that someone had said that they wanted to use my code next time there was a sale. And I had to say that I wasn't part of the program or anything. But maybe one day. So I guess that day has approached. So whoever wanted to use my code, I'll have one at some point and I'll like have it mentioned somewhere in my video and in my description if you would like to support me that way. But back to the build. The landscape is outlined now. I end up doing a dirt path that gets deleted. So I have to redo the dirt path and it looks slightly different after, but it's okay because that's like always a possibility when building in The Sims is that's occasionally the dirt paths will just get deleted when you load back into the game. I forgot why that happens sometimes, but it happens. And so to make it easier for myself to get it back in, I usually have like a decent like outline of the pathway with different plants so I kind of know where the curve of the dirt path goes. And so it's just like sometimes remembering which swatches I used and like the opacity that I used. But since I discovered how nicely the 2 horse ranch dirt swatches work together with layering, I usually just use the horse ranch dirt, and it's become easier for me to remember in case stuff like that happens. I don't know if I used the horse ranch originally. I guess I'll see while I'm doing this voiceover. Or I'll be talking too much and I'll not notice it, which is usually what happens. But another thing that I did to try to bring in like a whimsical element to this build is sizing up these green pumpkins and putting in the yellow glow orbs, just to make it like feel a little bit um whimsical, magical, and like it maybe is built in a fantasy world where there's these giant mushrooms and these giant pumpkins around. It would probably be a nightmare to carve a pumpkin that large. I'm like imagining someone with like a chainsaw going through the pumpkin, because I feel like the pumpkin would be pretty thick too because of how large the pumpkin is. And I'm just imagining someone with a giant chainsaw. I feel like that would not cut very evenly, but this isn't real life, so I love this lot so much for how this build turned out. And this was like built in very deep fall because when I was doing something else, I accidentally went into winter and the trees didn't have leaves on it. And then I had to like go back, and so my like intro video and I think the thumbnail might not have as red of trees in it. It's like kind of hard to tell anyway. The only like accents of that are those like deep red trees with the white flowers on it. But yeah, this was originally built in deep autumn, which I've learned is probably my favorite time of the Sims like calendar, I guess. I really like how all the landscape looks when it's all a little bit dead and the flowers kind of lose some of their color. It just like it all looks really nice together. And I'm using a lot of like I guess it looks like dead grass, like groupings of dead grass. I feel like it worked for um the build. And I don't know if I don't think I got up to it yet, but I was trying a thing where you put the chimneys in the basement um for smoke to be coming out of the ground. And like that was an idea that someone had sent me a reel of, like, someone doing that, and it's been over a year since someone sent me that, and so I finally was giving it a try because it's like I always forget, and sometimes new things scare me, and I don't wanna have to figure it out even if I watch a video for it, but this time I was like, "Oh, it'd be so cool to have smoke coming out of the cauldron," and so I put a chimney in the basement under a cauldron. There's no basement that you could get to, like, with stairs or anything. It's just for decoration. And then I tried to put a basement underneath that little pond to the left, and I was like, "That would be so cool to have, like, the smoke coming out of that pond area too." And I don't know if there's a limit of how many chimneys produce smoke on a lot, or if it was just a bug that was happening. But the moment I did that, all the chimney smoke stopped. And I'm wondering if like all that it would have taken to fix that was if I restarted my game and like started it back up and then lit the fireplace again. But instead, I just deleted the chimneys under there because I was worried that maybe there was too many. But I feel like that can't be a thing. I feel like it was just like a weird bug that happened. I'll have to remember to test it out again because originally I was like, this would look so cool with like a lot of like foggy smoke in different parts of the landscape. But instead I just have it coming out of the cauldron, which I think is fine anyway. I mean, you had seen it at the start of the video anyway. It's like, you wouldn't really see it that much regardless. Um, I don't think I have yeah, I didn't put any, like, fire safety stuff in this build, so be careful with the fireplace because I always have a rug very close to my fireplaces in my builds. But now for the most part, I think that the exterior is, like it's pretty much done. You could see that the dirt is once again gone, and I did forget to look and see what, um, ones I was originally using. but I like the combination of the like wallpapers that I picked out for this build. I think there's only like 3 of them, and I just mix and match them in different like squares of the build. There's the horse ranch like log cabin wall, which I really love. Paired with the half timber walls from Get Together. And then I think the stone that I used this time is from Discover University, which I feel like it looks really nice. The only other one that I would have maybe have considered using was, oh wait, no, I do. No, that isn't. I thought that I also used the Castle Estate stone, but that is just part of the foundation, which that also just like blends in really well with all of those packs too. I feel like all these swatches like look like they go together well, which sometimes is hard to pull off occasionally with like how different some of the wood swatches are across packs. And like the windows, I'm using Base Game and Get Together, and I don't think I used any other ones. I feel like I just have the Base Game ones with the shutter on it, which is one of my favorite windows in the game, and stained glass windows, and I'm pretty sure I don't use anything else besides those ones, but they look nice together. I do come back to the build later on, and I add some outdoor lighting on the walls of the build. Like I have one candle at the front porch, like right where I had put that like cowplant skull. And then I was using the cats and dogs little outside lantern that I really love. And I placed it like kind of hidden in some of the ivy just to like make the place light up at night because that's one thing I always forget to do is put lighting outside, and I feel like I probably could have put candles lining the dirt paths, things like that too. But I didn't really expect to take any pictures or anything at nighttime, which I guess I should have realized because I put in a bunch of fireflies and I realized that the fireflies don't come out until like 7 p.m. And it was pretty dark at that point when I was like waiting for them to show up. And that's why I decided to do something different with the intro video where it transitions from night to morning, so you could kind of see the build both at night and during the day, which I feel like now that I think about wasn't really necessary because you see the entire build during the daytime while I'm building anyway. That didn't cross my mind at the time. And I was adding some more of those green pumpkins just around this area in the well, and I don't usually use the green, but I felt like the orange pumpkins like stood out a little bit too much, where the green pumpkins like blend into the landscape a little bit better in my opinion. It feels more natural. And then that's when I was like, cause I had an idea to have a whole lot of orange pumpkins around that like lit up and like glowed and that they'd be in trees and stuff, which didn't end up happening with this build. But my Halloween build, I do use a lot of orange pumpkins, which is like what I wanted to do for a build this fall. So I was able to do both anyway, but then I'm remembering that I didn't actually put any pumpkins in the trees. And like maybe I'll um like add more to the Halloween build before I upload it anyway, because I haven't even edited the speed build for that yet. I feel like I have a lot of editing to do in the upcoming week. And so I'm like, Megan, are you working towards burning yourself out? I think it should be okay. A Halloween build isn't like a very long video anyway. I don't think. It's a pretty tiny build and it didn't take me that long to do, but it's really interesting and I really like how it turned out, and it's very different from what I've like kind of ever done. It's this like uh it is orange and purple like color palette for Halloween, and it is a like stone house built into a tree, which I've never really done. I think I did a build that was like in a tree one time, a very long time ago. Um, right around the time that tree houses were announced to be in one of the expansion packs, I had built like a tree house. But I feel like this one is a lot like better done, and it's like executed a lot like nicer and cleaner. So I'm excited to be able to post it. And yeah, you could see here is where I was struggling with the fireplaces and the chimneys and it not working because I was like, imagine these yellow orbs flying over this pond and smoke like pouring out from the water. I thought it would have looked really cool and interesting, but it wasn't working. Um, and, like, maybe it was just, all it probably took was a game restart, but I didn't consider doing that. And I was remembering that some of these insects from, like, Outdoor Retreat has, like, magical effects, and I remember seeing that in someone made, like, a video guide on, like, magical elements and builds, and I cannot remember who created it because it was a very long time ago, but they had pointed out that you could size down the like the rainbow fireflies in Outdoor Retreat. And you could use Tool to make the container even smaller. And so I had pulled some of those out for effects. And then I didn't really end up doing much with them. I think I use one or two of them um in like one part of the build, which is like I raise up a witch's broom and I use tool mod to rotate it, and then I put a little ghosty up there so like the ghost is riding the broom and then I have like a little bit of the magical orbs flying around it, and it's not very noticeable. And so that's when I think I realized I was like, I don't think I'm gonna put this anywhere and like then I kept them off to the side in case I wanted to use them on the interior with like different candles and like have the candles be like lit up using those. And then I never did that. And when I went back to it, I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to add these anywhere. So I ended up just deleting them. But it's good to remember for future builds that I can add those around. So in one of my upcoming builds, I'll probably add some of those insects as effects into my builds. I'm not sure which build I would do it in. I mean, it could be nice to go back to my Halloween one and add those around in the landscape. But here is the witch's broom I was talking about that I use tool mod to rotate it. I don't use tool mod often to rotate objects because I'm not like completely comfortable with tool mod like the way a lot of other people are. And so I try and rotate occasionally. And I thought it would be really cute to have a witch's broom flying over the build. And then I was like going to put a gnome up there. And I was like, oh, but the ghost looks so cute with his little smile. And I'm like, I feel like he would have fun riding the broom up there. And then I layer the insects into the broom, and it's so tiny and I don't even zoom into it right now. But if you look closely, if you download the build from the gallery, you'll see a couple of colorful fireflies hovering over the broom. It's not too noticeable. And I was like, I guess I was gonna put something else back there where I put that like Realm of Magic's like circular stone back there, but I guess I just left it as is. And like, but I could imagine that that goes deeper into the woods of Henford on Bagley. And I don't know what's surrounding this lot. I really don't remember this world very well because I haven't done gameplay a lot recently. I used to do gameplay so much. And I finally got my Grim Reaper reward challenges to work again, after I broke them, I guess, with my mods and stuff, so I still don't have my mods all installed, um, but I know someone had suggested to fix it, you had to, like, delete a file and then start your game up, and so I made sure to actually do it this time, but I was so nervous to do it because anytime I'm messing around with my files in my game, I get so scared that I'm gonna mess something up, and so, like, I backed up my saves when I did it anyway, but even then, I was like, "I'm so scared that I'm going to, like, lose something or I'm gonna break my game by moving this file," and, like, it didn't happen, but it's always a little bit scary, but yeah, thank you to whoever suggested like that fix for the challenges because I really like the items that come with the Grim Reaper rewards, but I haven't really been able to do much with it. Which also meant that I kind of like lost momentum for streaming because I had like gained momentum again with like gameplay for The Sims, and I would like occasionally stream my Sims gameplay, and then I would switch over to Dead by Daylight. But with my challenges being broken, it was like really discouraging, and so I haven't really been streaming, and I really do want to get back into streaming on Twitch at least occasionally like I like used to do. Um and I think that maybe getting the new pack and being in the creator network will encourage me to stream again. And so hopefully a Twitch stream will happen and I could like continue on with my gameplay with the Grim Reaper challenges. And I would love to explore more of like the gameplay in the new expansion pack and like how much it adds to the Grim Reaper. So I'm excited for that. But now you can see what I was talking about, where I was saying that I kind of expanded the house a little bit and I created a hallway that leads to both parts of the house. So I didn't have to have two staircases leading up because that also was throwing me off for like a family home. And I was like, the family home being like split up between two staircases leading upstairs was confusing me. And so I was like, okay, I think I can get a hallway without changing the look of the build too much because I really liked how the exterior already looked and I didn't want to change it much. And so adding just a tiny hallway connecting the two and moving the chimney, it didn't really like change way too much. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. It all works out in the end. You can see the floor plan now. I have 3 bedrooms up here and I furnished them like not like I didn't put a lot of effort into the bedroom furnishings for the most part. Like a couple of them I had set up as bedrooms, but almost like they're also just used for storage right now. Like maybe they had kids and the kids moved away, and so they used the bedrooms to keep some like clothes and stuff. That was like kind of the idea for the bedrooms because I like bedrooms are hard to come up with like this like unique ideas for, and I've been building so many houses that have multiple bedrooms that I was like, I'm not interested in spending a lot of time working on these. And I feel like people would like to customize the bedrooms to their families anyway. And so bedroom isn't important for me to decorate. As long as like there's something enjoyable to watch in the video while I'm just talking about it, I think is enough for it. And down here, um, I guess like the room all the way to the left where the tower is ends up being the cauldron room with the like plants that you can like grow, like your herbs for your potions, stuff like that. And then I have a small study in the middle, like next to the stairs. Then there's the dining room off to the side of that. All the way to the right of the house is a small kitchen. And then the front of the house has a very like, it seems like such a large room, like this room right here. And I was gonna have that be like a music room, and living room, but I couldn't fit in the upright piano anywhere. And I was like, oh, okay. This room looked a lot larger than um I guess, like, I thought it looked pretty big, and so I thought I could fit a pretty large piano in there. Like, I was like, "Oh, I could probably fit a grand piano in that room." I was wrong because I couldn't even fit the upright one into it. I guess it's like it was such an odd shape of room that I couldn't really, like, fit a lot, but there is a lot of, like, spots for seating, and I'm realizing now that the reason why I couldn't fit a piano in is because there's so many windows. Like, I have, like, 2 nooks that have windows and I put like wooden benches there, which if they didn't have the windows, I could have easily fit in a piano there. But I liked the look of the windows. I didn't want to change anything. And now I'm just putting in wallpapers and flooring. And for the most part, I think the color palette uses a lot of yellows, like very like light orange, like what like that room off to the back has like almost like an orange hue to me. One of the bedrooms I added green wallpaper into it and it was like kind of throwing me off a little bit. I was like, this is like the only area that has green. And so I was trying to like be different with the other wallpapers and I almost used a purple in one of the bedrooms, but I felt like without G shade, it was a little bit, it like stood out a little bit too much. And so I just like used the same wallpaper that I used in another bedroom. And then I'm picking out like light fixtures around too. I was trying to pick out ones that I don't like use all the time. Like I use those cottage living ones pretty often, so I have those. But in like other areas of the house, I was trying to find different things to use because I was like, I don't want to use the same one in every single room. So you could see that I'm like going through and I'm trying out different lights that I don't use all the time, but I've definitely used before. I love all of these, and me overlapping those lights in that living room um was inspired by my friend Vicky. I think that she had done that in one of her recent builds. And so I was like, that is such a good idea. And so I copied her with that, and I wanted to move like the chandelier over a little bit, but I didn't want to have to alt tab to layer them and like try to get them perfect. So I was like, I'll just keep this placement here so I don't have to worry about it. But these wall lights that I use, I think they're from Paranormal. I use those ones pretty often. I feel like if I'm using a like wall sconce, it's that one, or it's like the candles from the like wedding game pack. I also always use like a cats and dogs lantern that's like a wooden, like, I want to say box, but that's like a weird thing to call it. But I use it on the exterior of this build, which isn't in the video because I was just like trying to create lighting quickly and I was like, this is fine. But yeah, I wanted this library to be really full of bookcases, and then I thought that it like got in the way a little bit too much when you have the walls down, and I thought that would be kind of annoying in gameplay to have those two giant bookcases like cutting off the build a little bit. And I like it better without those two bookcases because I was able to like comfortably fit a desk in and add some decor. And I use like the stacks of books from the Book Nook kit, and I like stack them up in different parts of the build, which I really liked. And I felt like it gave the vibe of just like someone who's like a collector of books and someone who's maybe like studies magic, and so they have all their books scattered around. I also have like the stack of like the cats and dogs books that sits on top of like a trunk, but the trunk is hidden in desk, which I believe the desk should still be functional. I don't think that would cause an issue with like getting into the chair or like getting to the computer. I haven't playtested the build yet. I haven't uploaded to the gallery yet either. So I could like go and just make sure like most of the basic stuff is functional before I upload. Um I mean, I'm talking about that right now. It's Saturday, but like on Monday when you're watching this, it should be up on the gallery by then. And if I forgot, then it will be up like shortly after the video is uploaded or something like that. Um, I was like struggling with this rug in this room because I couldn't find a placement for it that I enjoyed. And like I just had to overlook it. I'm like, this is fine. The rug can stay here. But for some reason, I feel like the balance of the room was off by having the rug all the way like to the right instead of centered in the room. But yeah, I'm also using tool mod again here to rotate the candles a little bit to make it seem like they're floating, which I was using those Realm of Magic orbs, the yellow ones, to pretend like items were floating in my like, it was like my autumn like farmhouse, like haunted farmhouse or something that I had posted a couple weeks ago. That was for mine and my friend's shell challenge, which if you had watched that, I said that the due date for mine and Vicky's shell challenge was October 23rd. But if you want to participate in our shell challenge, I guess I'll link that below as well, just in case. We are going to be pushing the due date to at least the end of November, so there's time to participate if you choose to. It is a pretty large shell challenge, is what I've realized, because my video for it was so long. It's two structures. So that kind of takes a lot to furnish and stuff like that. You'll have a month to work on it now if you do like decide that you would like to participate in the shell challenge. I'll have it linked again and we might move the due date again, who knows. But yeah, I'll keep everyone updated if you are interested. Um, but yeah, this room is now pretty much done. I feel like I put a lot of like effort into the clutter in this room specifically, and some of the other rooms, I didn't put as much clutter in, but I felt like this like library needed more clutter into it. Like I wanted it to feel like they spend a lot of time in there and like they don't really like clean things up or move things around too much because they're just constantly like taking out books and not putting them back. So I wanted it to just like feel like that room was used a lot more than like I guess some of the other rooms. Like I guess I also was thinking that a writer lived here when I was putting the like book plaque on the wall. So that is also an idea for, I guess, a story for whoever lives here. And just a simple bathroom with I think that tile is from For Rent, which I used to use in green pretty often, but I love it in that orangey yellow swatch like a lot. It's going to become one of my go-tos, I think. It reminds me of the like yellow tile I always use from base game that I like stopped using because I used like all the time. And now I'm like, this looks like a nut, like a fancier variation of that tile floor, and I love it. So I used it in every bathroom in the house, and I believe I also used it in the kitchen. And over here now is the magic room where you could grow your herbs and stuff. I have a cauldron in the tower. I also decorated the tower like just a little bit. I think I end up putting um that like seance table on this like once you go up those stairs or the up the ladder, there's no stairs. And then you go up another ladder and it's just like a haunted trinket tower, which I think I always do for like the top tower of my builds is I'm like, this is like haunted storage up here. I just love the idea of a haunted tower, so that's usually what my towers are in my builds. That or I'll just put a bunch of plants in a tower and like again the towers don't have a lot of windows, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for a bunch of potted plants to be up in these dark towers. But it's just like it's a good way to like use up that space because the like space is like so small and you can't really fit a lot of activities in a tower. So most of the time mine are just decorative, and I'll have a ladder just like in case people like figure out something else that they want to use the tower for. But as I'm like looking at this, like I like this plant room. I was gonna say greenhouse. It's not a greenhouse. There's like no windows. But so looking at the plant room, I'm thinking about how for my first build with the new Life and Death expansion pack, I want to try and do like some sort of haunted manor with a really big like attached greenhouse. I feel like that would look really pretty, and I can imagine like cracks in the windows and stuff like that. And I already like have an idea in my head of what I want it to look like. Like I would love for it to be sitting on a giant hill, and on the hill there's like different terrain levels of like different like mini like subparts of a garden. It sounds complicated and it feels complicated in my head, but I'm really excited to try and do that. And I might even like do the shell before the pack even comes out and just like have the landscape and the shell ready to decorate for when the pack comes out. I'm unsure if I want to do like a base game and that pack only. I feel like that might be something I want to try and do, especially because it'll be like my first build with like the EA Creator Network thing. And I feel like maybe I want to try and do base game and the pack only. But I guess we'll see when I get the pack on Halloween. But yeah, this is the haunted trinket tower that I was talking about. I really just like put a bunch of stuff from the paranormal stuff pack in here, which like I love that stuff pack so much. It has so many good clutter items. And so I just have things that I thought would be like they wouldn't want in the main part of the house, like just in case. And always forget about these glass containers that hold little ghosts in them. I need to start using those for decoration more often, but I only remember they exist when I'm sorting specifically like for the paranormal stuff pack. So I need to remember to do that more often because that would look so cute in a little study room. And like now I'm wondering if I size down the glass, if the ghost is kind of like out of the glass container. Because I know that's what happens with like the Batu wart frog, where you like it's in a giant tank. And if you size down the tank, the frog can like hang out and sit on your couch with you, which I've done a lot. And I'm like, can you do that with the ghosts in there? I'm gonna have to try that and see how it goes. And for this dining room, I don't know why I don't have a sixth chair by the dining room table. When I was editing this part, I was very confused and I couldn't remember if maybe I meant to only use 4 chairs and I meant to delete the 5th one, or if I completely forgot to add another chair in. Um, so when this is uploaded to the gallery, this may or may not have an extra chair, or I'll delete that other chair, or I'll forget completely and there'll just be 5 chairs here for some reason. I really don't know what happened there. It was not intentional. It was not a design choice at like all. So yeah, I have no idea. But I like the color palette in there. I used some like greens to like just add a pop of color and like a little like bench seat, or I guess an ottoman, which you could maybe use instead of like chairs, like pretending that they could push the chairs out of the way and like sit on that instead if they wanted to. And for the kitchen, I decided to go with yellow cabinets because I liked the color of the wood counter for that swatch specifically. And I felt like it just looked really nice with the tile floor and the like backsplash that I had already picked out. I feel like it like tied together really well. And then I just used some base game cabinets to kind of like try and match the wood counter a little bit because like as much as I love the cottage living counters, I really like the cabinets to it. Sometimes it's just not what I want in a house. I feel like it like the style is just so specific where these wooden cabinets feel more basic and it just doesn't like stand out as much, which is sometimes what I want in like my houses. But usually the basing cabinets can pair really nicely with some of the other packs like that. And I had like a section at like the front of the kitchen over here. At first, I was gonna have that be like a walk-in pantry, but it felt like a weird space. And I kind of took the lazy way out and I just put in some floor to ceiling cabinets. It's the pantry. It's not a walk-in pantry, but it's just a pantry there. And this was the living room where I was gonna put a piano in, but I couldn't fit it in. And you could see what I mean, where I put like I have a lot of spots to sit in this room. And if I didn't have like both those windows in those areas, I could have put a piano in one of them. But I felt like the windows was necessary. And I guess, like, the back one, I could have deleted the back window and just covered that section with ivy so it didn't look weird. Because, like, realistically, people aren't looking at every angle of a house, like, that, like, detailed. And especially because it's, like, a back section of the house, like, you're not really gonna see it very often. Like, I could have covered that up with ivy, but I like the 2 benches here. It's just my original idea couldn't happen because the space was an odd shape and there was just for once too many windows where normally my builds don't have enough windows. I think I've been like trying really hard to make sure I have enough windows placed around in my builds because sometimes I'll have like one tiny window in a bedroom and I'm like, I feel like I need to fix this because it looks good on the outside, but now like the inside, it just like it doesn't make a lot of sense on why there would be like no windows in this bedroom. And I just like clutter around with some plants. I really like those wall plants. I feel like like, I don't know, the ferns just feel witchy to me for some reason, like the texture of those leaves. And I was like, this ties in the theme of a witch living here, at least in my head. I don't know why I think that. There must be some correlation to that and maybe one of my friends or something. I feel like maybe it reminds me of someone's builds, but I can't really like put it together in my head right now. I also can't believe that it's like the end of October already. Like when I went like started this month, I was like so ready to be building so many like Halloween builds and haunted houses, which like okay, I build those all year long, so it really doesn't matter. But I thought I'd get like way more done than I had like originally like I guess like thought. Like I thought I would get like way more done. But like the new expansion pack coming out on Halloween, it, like it feels okay and, like, fitting that November will be a lot of haunted builds. I have an idea for some more of my Haunted Copperdale save, ideas too. Like, I just watched Scream last night with a couple of my friends, and I really love the house in that movie. So I was looking at a picture of it today when I woke up, and I was like, "That would look so nice in Copperdale, like, overlooking the pier where, like, the carnival is." And so I think I'm gonna try and recreate the Scream house in one of those lots because, like, I need ideas for the houses anyway. Like, I had the ideas for the commercial lots, but not a lot for the rest of the world, and it would be fitting for me to take inspiration from, like, houses and slasher movies considering the save files, like, horror the slasher inspired, so it would make a lot of sense for me to do that, and so that's, like, another plan that I'm gonna to have, like, maybe, like, towards the end of November or early December. Um, but yeah, this bedroom up here, I felt like this was like kind of different for me. You could see it's so dark in there. I added more windows because I was like, oh my god, there's like not a lot of windows in this room. But just the color palette, I feel like I never use like that red bed, that swatch, which I use that bed a lot, but I don't use that swatch. And paired with the green, it felt like I was doing something that was different for me, even though it has like this a similar vibe to everything else. Like I use like that's the whole piece of furniture I use, but in different swatches, like the grayish wood instead of the dark wood that I would normally use. Um I was really trying because I was like, I don't want to do the same bedrooms over and over again because like I feel like every week I've been posting a house with at least 3 bedrooms, and I feel like they're all blurring into one in my head, and I'm like, I feel like that must just get tiring to watch over and over again. Like, if you watch, like, a lot of my videos, I'm like I feel like after a certain point, it starts getting repetitive if it's, like, the same, like, copy pasted bedroom over and over again, and I didn't wanna do that with this build, which is also why, like, these bedrooms feel more like old rooms that they start storing things in, so it's not really like built to resemble like someone actually is using these bedrooms to sleep, and it's more just like yeah, like the kids moved out and now there's just some like stuff packed away in some of these spaces. And now I'm realizing that I lied at the start of the video. This isn't a 3-bedroom home. This is a 4-bedroom home. I completely forgot because and, like, I think I forgot that while I was decorating it too, um, that there was, like, the other bedroom towards the front over there, like, the really large one off to the left. Because my head, I'm only thinking about these 3 bedrooms, but there's 4 of them. I guess I'll edit in, like, some words on the screen to correct myself that this is a 4-bedroom house. So you know what? I feel like that's impressive for me to manage 4 bedrooms in a space instead of my usual 2. Um, and I put some art supplies in that other bedroom, but there's no easel. And I was like, you know what? I don't need an easel. I could just like you could pretend like they have canvases and like maybe they have more like like those watercolor books. I don't even know what they're called, but you know what I mean, where, like, you could open it up and it's, like, a book that you do watercolors in. Um, vocabulary is just slipping from me right now. But that's the fourth bedroom, which I completely forgot about. Um, I feel like it looks really nice, so I love the rocking chair that came with the nursery kit. I add that same rocking chair upstairs in the other tower, and like while I was taking pictures of this build, which you'll see at the end, the screenshots of the build, I thought that I had forgotten to decorate the other tower that's in this build, which is like the last thing that I show, which will be coming up pretty soon. Which I just do sort of like a reading tower with like the bookcases from the Book Nook kit, and it like stretches up to the ceiling, and there's two rocking chairs up there. And I went back in to like darken the house a little bit using some accent walls for like the wood walls, because I felt like it was so bright and I needed to tone it down a little bit. So I just added some more of these wooden walls that I had upstairs and like in these other little sections. So I'm like, this feels like like dark academia with like all the wood walls and the wood flooring, and then like the rest of the build feels like way too bright to match it. And so I just changed some of it around. But yeah, that's pretty much like now the entire build. It's just two rocking chairs, a bunch of books up here. Um, this one is a little bit more neat than the downstairs library, which we'll see again in a second. But yeah, there's the greenhouse room, living room, kitchen, the dining room with the missing chair, and that my favorite room, which is the library downstairs, and each of the bedrooms with the random man that lives in the house, because I was playtesting a little bit and turning on the fireplace for pictures. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll have another build video up on Halloween, I believe. And I'm really excited for that one. I really like how it turned out. It was like I like that build so much that I felt sad that that build wasn't my like addition to the Sims collab, because I was like, I like that one so much more, but I like this one too. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.